Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. In today's world, computers are a valuable asset in one's life. From simple email sending to running simulations, computers do these things with great speed and efficiency. They may seem perfect to us due to their jaw-dropping capabilities, but they are not infallible. Computers are still susceptible to issues, such as not turning on or crashing entirely. In this video, we are going to talk about how to diagnose a computer problem, a PC's behavior when an issue occurs, how to fix 3 common computer issues, and how to diagnose/troubleshoot the computer using problem isolation and component isolation method. So let's start, shall we? How to diagnose a computer problem. There are 10 steps to follow on diagnosing a computer problem. Number 1. Check that the cables and components of your computer are properly connected. This is especially for newly assembled or newly upgraded systems. Check if the cables inside and outside the computer are inserted properly into their respective sockets, and check if the components, such as graphics card, RAM chips, and sound card, are properly attached to the motherboard. Number 2. Check the post of the computer. Post, also known as power on self-test, is a part of the computer's startup program that is used to diagnose the keyboard, RAM, disk drives, and hardware to make sure that they function properly. Any errors detected by the post will either be displayed as a text error message on the screen or a beep message like this. If a text error message is shown on the screen, you can search it on the internet to see what error this text error message indicates. If there is a beep message, listen carefully and take note of its pattern. Then you can go to this website to see what error the pattern indicates. Number 3. Check the load time of your operating system. The loading time of your operating system greatly depends on your hardware. But if your operating system takes significantly longer to load than usual, then this may indicate that there is a problem in your hard drive that prevents your computer from getting information from your hard drive. Number 4. Check for any graphics problems. If the computer has booted properly, but you notice graphics problems, this may indicate driver failures or hardware failures with the graphics card. If you suspect that there is a problem with the graphics card, you should update this driver first. But if the problem persists, then you can use DirectX Diagnostics on your computer. You can access it by pressing the Windows key and the R key at the same time, and then type DXDiag on the text box. Wait for a few moments for the DirectX Diagnostics window to pop up on your computer, and after that, go to the Display tab and look at this part to see the diagnostics, and in this case, my graphics are just okay. Number 5. Check for any hardware problems. Many computer problems are caused by hardware failures or problems with the hardware driver. Windows will usually notify you about the devices that have a problem. You can also use the Device Manager to check the status of different hardware devices. Double-click a category in the Device Manager to display all the devices under that category. Then, double-click a specific device. Any errors with the device will be displayed in the device status box under the General tab. Make sure to check all the devices. To open the Device Manager, follow these steps. Click the Windows Start menu in the lower left corner, type Control Panel, double-click the Control Panel in the Windows Start menu, click Hardware and Sound, then click Device Manager below Devices and Printers. Number 6. Check newly installed software. Some software may require more resources than your computer can provide. If a problem begins after software starts, that software can be causing it. If the problem appears directly upon startup, it may be caused by software that starts automatically on boot. Uninstall any recently installed programs and see if the problem continues. And you may also want to limit the number of startup programs. Number 7. Check the RAM and CPU consumption. If your computer is running slow or choppy, it is a good practice to see if a program is consuming more resources than your computer can provide. One way to check this is to use the Task Manager. To open the Task Manager, just right-click on the taskbar at the bottom of the screen, then click Task Manager, and then click on the Performance tab. Click CPU to display a graph of the current CPU usage, and click Memory to see a graph of the RAM consumption. If your computer's CPU graph is running at 80 to 100% most of the time, then it will be a sign that you need to upgrade your processor. If your computer is using too much memory, close all unneeded programs and browser tabs and see if your computer's performance improves. Limit the amount of multitasking you do on your computer. If your computer doesn't have enough memory to do basic operations, some computers allow you to purchase and install more RAM. Number 8. Listen to the computer. If the hard drive is making a loud noise or scratching sounds, you should shut off your computer and have a professional diagnose the hard drive. You should also listen to the CPU fan. If the fan is blowing hard, this could mean that your CPU is getting too hot. If you suspect that you have a damaged hard drive, immediately back up all important data in the drive and shut down the computer. Because if you continually use a damaged hard drive, it will damage it further. If you are unable to back up your data and the data is really important, then you should remove the damaged hard drive and take it to a professional for data recovery. Number 9. Run a virus scan. Performance problems can be caused by malware on the computer. Running a virus scan can unearth problems. Use trusted antivirus programs such as Windows Defender, Malwarebytes, McAfee, or Norton. Number 10. Check for the problem in safe mode. As a last resort, check the problem in safe mode. If the problem persists in safe mode, then it is fair to assume that your operating system is to blame. You may need to reinstall your operating system if that is the case. In this video, we're also gonna talk about the behavior of the computer if the computer has these 3 issues and how to solve them. These 3 computer issues are: the screen is blank, the computer is slow, and the screen is frozen. And these are the solutions for these issues. Issue number 1. The screen is blank. If this issue appears, the behavior of the computer are: the system unit is running but there is no power on the monitor. The system unit and the monitor are both on but there is no video output. Or the computer will send out an error beep code. Solution. First, check if the monitor is on. If you don't see the power LED turn on, then press on the power button and see if it turns on. If the screen still doesn't turn on, then check on loose or improper connections. First, check if the power cable of your monitor is properly connected to its power source and to the monitor itself. If the power cable is properly connected but there is still no power on the monitor itself, use another power cable that is guaranteed to work and connect it to your monitor and the power source. If this works, then your power cable is at fault. If this doesn't work, then proceed to the next one. Check if your power source can meet the power demand of your monitor. If it doesn't meet the power demand, then change your power supply to one that will meet the demand. If the power LED is on, but there is no video output, then this is what you do. First, check if the data transfer cable is connected properly to the computer. The data transfer cable should be inserted completely and firmly in place. Older monitors use a VGA cable, while newer displays use DVI or HDMI cable and port. Also, make sure that the cable is connected to the correct video port. The newest video cards have multiple connections, and your motherboard may also have its own connection. If the preceding steps don't work, then try a different data transfer cable that works and connect it to your monitor and computer. If the monitor will show a video output, then it is safe to assume that your data transfer cable is at fault. If it still doesn't work, then it will be your graphics card that has the issue. Check if your graphics card is properly inserted into its socket. If it is not properly inserted into its socket, then insert it properly. If it still doesn't work, then it is safe to assume that your video card is at fault. If you can view the monitor's setting menu even though the screen is blank, you likely need to turn up the brightness and contrast. If the computer doesn't pass the post, it will not turn on and the monitor remains blank. If you hear a beep code, listen to it, take note of its pattern, search for what error it stands for on this website, and you will know what component is failing or bad, and from there, you can fix the issue. Lastly, it could be a hardware issue. It could be the monitor itself, the graphics card, or the motherboard that has the issue. First, borrow someone's computer monitor and connect it to your computer. If another monitor works on your computer, it is safe to assume that your monitor is defective and needs to be repaired or replaced. If you disconnect your monitor, connect it to another computer, and it works, then your video card is probably at fault. But if you tested the video card and the monitor on another computer and it works, then your motherboard probably has an issue and needs to be repaired or replaced. Issue number 2. The computer is slow. If this issue happens, the behavior of the computer is that there is a long delay between keyboard input and computer response. The computer takes longer than usual to respond to a mouse click, lower frame rate, choppy transitions and movements, and programs take longer to launch. Solution. If your computer is slower than normal, you can often fix the problem by simply cleaning the hard disk of unwanted files. You should also uninstall unused programs to lessen the space consumed by your programs on your hard drive. Clear unneeded background processes and programs by going to the Task Manager and ending the background processes and programs that are slowing your computer down. You can access the Task Manager by right-clicking the taskbar on the bottom of your screen, and on the Processes tab, you can see all the programs running. Simply click on the program or background task you want to end and click on the End Task button, which is on the bottom right part of the Task Manager window. You should close unused tabs to lessen the memory and processing power being consumed. You may also want to lessen your startup apps to speed up the boot up time. You can do this by going to the Task Manager, click on the Startup tab, click on the program that you don't need to be launched at startup, and click the Disable button situated at the lower right corner. You should also close a program after you use it. You should also use antivirus software to detect and remove any malware that is slowing down your computer. Issue number 3. The computer is frozen. If this issue happens, the behavior of the computer is there is no response to keyboard input except for some shortcuts, the computer won't respond to mouse clicks, and the program or page is generally unresponsive. Solution. The first thing you can do is to press the escape key twice in quick succession. This could get your computer unfrozen. If the first approach doesn't work, then press the Control key, Alt key, and Delete key at the same time, then click Task Manager, and then go to the Processes tab and click on the program that is causing the issue, and click on the End Task button. You will lose any unsaved work on that program if you do this step. If the preceding approaches don't work, then click the power button on your system unit, and if it brings up the turn off the computer menu, choose Restart. If all the preceding approaches don't work, then hold down the power button of your system unit for about 4 to 5 seconds to force restart your computer. Diagnosing and troubleshooting using problem isolation method. The problem isolation method is detective work in which you need to determine what is out of the ordinary by making detailed observation of what is not working normally and record detailed information as you proceed. You can use the problem isolation method for diagnosing and troubleshooting by removing any unrelated problems. You must start from the simplest to the more complicated problems. You can do this by looking for abnormalities in the unit, changes in sound and smell, and listen for error codes. The information gathered on the way will help diagnose your computer. These problems are grouped into these 12 categories. These categories are electrical power, connectivity, boot, memory, mass storage, input-output, operating system, applications, device drivers, memory management, malware, and network. Under the electrical power category, the problem include problems in AC plugs and cords, power supply, power connectors, and outlet. Under the connectivity category, the problems include problems in external and internal cables, seated cards, and front panel wires. Under the boot category, the problems include problems in boot ROM, CMOS chip and settings, and CMOS battery. Under the memory category, the problems include problems in DRAM SRAM setup, CMOS settings, and motherboard jumpers. Under the mass storage category, the problems include problems in hard disk drives, floppy disk drives, zip drives, and tape drives. Under the input-output category, the problems include problems in serial and parallel port settings and I/O address. Under the operating system category, problems include problems in the buffer, filers, and stacks. Under the applications category, problems are caused by improper installation and configuration, bugs, and incompatibility. Under the device drivers category, the problems are caused by improper versions, improper configuration, and no driver at all. Under memory management, the problems include problems in the virtual memory, Windows resource usage, and UMB management. Under the malware category, the problems are caused by a virus infection, which damage the system and various files. Under the network category, the problems are caused by improper setting of NIC, improper setting of IP and DNS, and problems in network communication. Diagnosing and troubleshooting using the component isolation method. By using the component isolation method, it aids you to determine which system components are failing and causing the issue. Most systems have three major components, which is the monitor, the system unit, and printers. Other systems have external devices. To troubleshoot, you need to isolate major components which are failing to operate so that you can repair or replace these components to get rid of the issues in the computer. You can diagnose your computer by ruling out the fully operational components. You must work from the most major components up to the most specific ones to pinpoint which components are causing the issues in your computer. Well, that's the end. I hope you enjoy watching this video and you may have learned something new today. This is Tracy Castro signing out. Thank you for watching and goodbye.